Welcome back to the C Morning Show, everyone. It is now past 8 in the a.m. and Indonesia for the past week or so has had World Cup fever as we have begun our FIFA Under-17 World Cup campaign. We are in Group A alongside Ecuador, Panama, and Morocco. And the young Garuda squads so far have played 2 matches, which has resulted in 2 draws. So, what lies ahead for Indonesia in this FIFA World Cup? What sort of strategy and tactics will they likely employ in their last group match? Well, here to offer his insights is tactical analyst from Ruang Taktik and friend of the program, Muhammad Yusuf Raihan. Good morning, Mas Raihan. Welcome back.
Thank you.
Good.
Glad to be here again.
Always good to have you here when it comes to these sort of international tournaments because you're able to break down the team. So let's first start from there. As we know, the young Garuda squad so far have 2 draws from their first 2 matches. Tell me, what are your thoughts in general when it comes to the team itself and how their performance has been?
Yeah, I think it has actually exceeded my expectations.
Okay, really?
Yeah, because, we came in just... It's a bit of something of a surprise that it wasn't intended for the under-17s. It was actually for the under-20s, right?
Right. Originally, yes.
Originally, so yeah, and I think that this is like a tough group as well, playing against Ecuador, who is on the rise. They are on the rise, and then Panama and Morocco as well. So it is a bit of tough group. Our first appearance in any age group of a World Cup, right?
Okay.
And gaining 2 points, scoring in every match, it's a good start.
Okay, so some of my friends were actually telling me it might be a little bit easier for this younger squad because there's less pressure. There's always pressure on the senior team, on the older players, but on the younger players, there's less expectations. They're less intimidated, perhaps, and there's less pressure in regards to previous performances because, as you said, this is the first time as well. What is your take in regards to their mental capabilities coming into this tournament?
Oh yeah, I think in relative to the senior squad, there's definitely less pressure, but for 17-year-olds, 16-year-olds, 15-year-olds, there are still some pressure because Indonesian fans, that's the nature. Yeah, it's the standard, right? So there's still pressure, I think, amongst these boys, but we are more accepting.
Yeah, I think they're handling it quite well.
Yeah, and the results have been fairly promising, right? So I think that the fans always going to see the result as everything, and so
a point is a point.
A point is a point,
right?
yeah.
Okay, so let's dive a little deeper, moving on to some tactical analysis. Let's get first your insights and predictions. Obviously, you have prepared, you brought you're with us some advanced statistics as well, so let's have a look at some of them right now.
So we're going to see this.
This is from their previous match against Panama.
Against Panama. So this is actually from the official FIFA post-match report.
Okay.
And what I'm going to break down is the defensive situation, basically. So Indonesia, they play in a 4-3-3 shape. So if I may illustrate the 4-3-3 shape. So here is the front line, and this is the midfield line, and then the back line. So basically, what the idea is just to crowd out the middle part. So as you can see here, there's not much pressure being made in this area, but a lot of times we try to crowd out the middle and try to force them out wide. So basically, you can see all the pressure are made here.
Right.
Here.
Okay.
So we try to force the opponents to go out wide.
This was the strategy. We're trying to push them out to the side.
And we don't really press high. So you can see the difference between the pressure map here, no pressure at all, and here.
Okay.
So there's a difference in intensity. Panama is more, like, we can say advanced in football. They qualified for the 2018 World Cup, the most recent one. Not the most recent, the second most recent one. And you can see, definitely the difference in intensity. But let's go back to Indonesia's plan. Oops. Sorry.
Back out.
Okay. So basically, trying to crowd out the middle, force them out wide, and then we look to press them on. So you can see the direction of the press. It is going backwards, right? So the front line, they like to help out and try and join with the midfield in the press. So yeah, we try to crowd them out here and here and use this touchline as an extra defender because you cannot escape to the left side or to the right side, right?
That's actually a good point. So we're basically trying to limit the space for their
Yeah,
movement.
yeah.
Okay, all right.
And then that helps with, the lack of intensity that we've had because, we don't press high. And then, we just sit off and try to gain turnover from these areas.
Do you think that actually caused a lot of problems for Panama during this match?
Well, obviously, I think that it caused some problems, but Panama, it didn't really harm them, actually. I think that Panama still played their football pretty well, but, in these situations, we actually had some turnovers, so yeah, it's effective to an extent, but it's not the most beautiful, I think.
Okay, so this was their previous match, but prior to that, Indonesia had another draw as well. What was the most glaring differences between the first match and second match, and what did you see? Did you see any sort of adjustment, especially defensively?
I don't really see it actually because the plan is still the same. Against in the first game against Ecuador as well, they played in a similar shape, in a 4-3-3 shape as well, and basically the plan is the same, just to try to force them out wide and then start the press when the ball is in the wide flank. So yeah, it's basically the same.
Okay, so let's have a look at some of these advanced statistics from the previous match from 3 days ago, which obviously resulted in a very similar one as well. Okay, we'll continue on with this one first.
So what I'm going to break down here is the movement to receive the ball. So basically when someone use their body language, try to receive the ball, it is being counted in the FIFA match report.
Oh, okay.
And I think that the most interesting part here is this two, in between and in behind.
Could you explain a little bit in regards to this?
So yeah, trying to receive the ball in between, so basically in the midfield, so in between the defensive line. So here, if someone tries to receive, so let's say this is the defensive line and this is the midfield line. He tried to receive in the pockets of space.
Okay.
If we speak it in footballing language, then it is being counted as a in-between movement to receive. So Jidabin, 14 movements to receive the ball in between the lines. I think his off-ball movements, it's impressive. It's not exactly impressive, but it's pretty good for a 16-year-old, 17-year-old.
Okay.
But he constantly tried to find space and try to receive the ball in open space. But I think his on-ball qualities are still, subpar for his age. But constantly trying to find space. I think that's something that is positive from him. And also in behind, Arkan Kaka, he is actively trying to, beat maybe the offside trap or the defensive line, trying to play through the channels and, keep the defense honest. And yeah, I think that
this is basically a more visual part of the statistics where we look at the pitch being broken down into its 3 different sections as well. What sticks out the most to you in regards to their movements in the 3 separate areas?
Actually, I think just, in the middle third where there's a lot of movement to receive the ball in between. And yeah, I think that shows that the midfield is pretty good on trying to find the right space at the right time. And yeah, but it's the on-ball quality that is pretty disappointing, I might say, because there's a lot of mistakes, like passing-wise and decision-making-wise. So yeah, trying to find space, that's the positive part of the things. But the on-ball qualities are pretty disappointing.
That would be the next step.
Yep.
Okay.
And yeah, let's try and see in the other game against Ecuador. So you can see again, Jidabin consistent in his movements. and also Arkan, consistent as well.
Very similar numbers as well.
Yeah, so basically these two players are, you know, pretty good off the ball, but, you know, on the ball, I think that's a different story.
Now, you said these two matches, the first two matches, produced very similar numbers in regards to statistics. Are you likely to expect any sort of adjustment before our third and final match here in the group phase? Because obviously, we would like to get more than 1 point, ideally, from this next one.
I wouldn't say so, actually, because I think that everything has worked pretty well so far for our standards. You know that we lack intensity, so that's why we try to sit off and try to hit the opponents on the break. And yeah, I think that this is working pretty well, actually. But you know,
wouldn't that make it easier for them to be able to, our final opponent, to be able to predict if there are no actual major adjustments being made from match to match?
Yeah, in some sense. I think that something that can be adjusted is probably Welber Jardim playing more of an offensive role than just as a right back. Maybe try and play him in the midfield or on the wings. But, you know, I don't expect a lot of changes because, you know, these players, they haven't been together for a long time. I think making adjustments is...
It's risky, isn't it?
Yeah, it's a bit risky when you're not with each other for a long time. So, yeah.
That's a good point. Okay, what else? Have you got anything else for us in regards to this match?
So, the next one is this.
Okay.
This is...
Explain this a little bit, because this one, I'm a little bit lost when it comes to these numbers.
So, yeah, what we're going to see here is line breaks.
Okay.
So, basically, I'm going to illustrate maybe here. So, if this is the possessor of the ball, and then you have a defensive line, a midfield line, so, and you have a teammate here. So basically, maybe let's try and illustrate. So a pass here breaks the defensive line.
Okay.
So that is what is counted as a line break.
A line break, one line break.
Yeah.
If they successfully pass it through to their teammate through a line. Okay.
Yeah. So basically, that gives us a picture of the passing quality, the accuracy, the intent of the pass, and yeah, here against Ecuador, we can see that the most line breaks was from Sultan Zaki, who is a defender for PSM Makassar, and the direction of it is pretty balanced as well. So that gives a picture of us that it is varied in his passing, that, you know, a lot of situations he can still progress the ball really well. And I think he was pretty impressive in the first game. And yeah, I thought that he was the best player outside of Arkan Kakak and maybe Welber Jardim in that game. But also you can see that Welber Jardim, he was pretty good as well in the line breaks. But you know, this isn't actually really good, like 68%, 63%. Because when I saw the statistics from the opponent, the success percentage is actually like 90%, 80%. Okay. So yeah,
all right.
As I said before, the on-ball qualities, it is not the best.
And we got to remember as well, the ones that are in and around the 60s, they're attempting a lot more than a couple of the other players. They have, 100% completion, but they're only attempting a few.
Yeah, so like this, only 2 out of 2, 3 out of 3. And you can see it as well in the other game. It is a consistent trend as well. So, 66, 60, 50, 69, 50, maybe 80. This one is good. But basically, the homework here is, the technical part of things and the on-ball qualities, as I said. But, Welber Jardim again stood out in the game. And yeah, I think he is one of our best players in this tournament.
So I'm very interested in these line break statistics, because what it does indicate is that do attempts matter? Do the number of attempts matter? We know we're looking at some of the lower percentage compared to our opponents, but attempts for passing does matter. I mean, moving that ball around the field really does make a difference, because it causes your opponents to also try to adjust.
Yeah.
So what's your take in regards to, I know on-ball quality isn't that great, but the number of passes that we're trying to make?
So yeah, it basically depends on the team tactics right.
Okay.
Because if you play more direct, then you're not going to have a lot of passes,
True.
right? So yeah, well, maybe you can see that maybe the reason why this is low is because our style of play, which is direct, but still, I think 60-ish% is still concerning,
Okay.
given that some of these players are actually like center backs who are afforded more space, time and space.
Okay. They should be able to
They
complete
should
more
be
of
able
their
to
passes.
complete more. The percentage should be higher.
Okay.
But you know, it's because it's probably the style of play, our direct style of play.
Gotcha. So let's take a look at some of the head-to-head matchups. You mentioned Arkan Kaka and Welber Jardim. They've showed some promising performances against both Ecuador and Panama. Are they the coaches? Are they the players that Coach Bimasakti will be relying on as well for their upcoming match? And what about other potential players?
So yeah, I think these two players are probably the best performing players on the under-17 squad now. I'm probably going to discuss about Arkan Kaka first.
Okay.
I think he is one of the brightest stars in Indonesia right now.
How old is he, by the way? Is he
I
right
think
on
he's
the brink?
16.
16.
Yeah, and he made his debut actually aged 15 years
Okay.
old. So yeah, he is already breaking through to the first team with Persisolo. And yeah, I think what stands out the most about him is his physical qualities. He is 186 centimeters high. So yeah, that's pretty tall for a 16-year-old, right? And I think that is the ideal posture, especially for a center forward trying to play as maybe the lone forward and, you know, being pretty physical,
Perhaps
aggressive
winning
in
some
duels.
aerial battles.
Yeah, and he's actually pretty active as well off the ball, trying to, you know, find the space in behind. And also, he is not bad as well in dropping and linking up plays with his teammates. So yeah, I think he is the prototype of a complete forward for this age bracket. And yeah, he's
How would
pretty
you
good.
assess his off-ball movement? Because players generally, footballers that tall, generally you would have to kind of, I guess there would be a bit of a compromise when
Yeah.
it comes to your off-ball movement.
No, it's actually really good. It's actually really impressive. I think he's pretty mobile as well. He's pretty quick, but
Be young and 16 again. Yeah, I'm sure that helps. Okay.
so yeah, I think Arkan Kaka, he probably has the most potential out of all of the under-17 players, I think.
Okay.
And also Welber Jardim, he's playing as a right back and actually played as a bit of left back as well in the first game. And I think his qualities are going forward. That is the best. I think defensively he is maybe, you know, a bit average, but you know,
Is he playing out of position?
I might suspect so because I think he has the potential to play maybe in midfield or as the winger. So yeah, I think it is a bit wasted that he's playing as a right back.
Right.
But maybe there's no choice in the right back spot other than him. And yeah, he's playing pretty well, confident with the ball, beating his man with dribbles, and you know, the passing, the on-ball qualities are his above average compared to the other guys.
Okay, so one thing that has become of concern as well, and remember we're talking about like under 17 players, is physical stamina and endurance. Now we know that this has been a problem in the past with some of our football teams, even the senior squads, where you know we play really well in the first half and then we sort of tend to fade or we tend to lose some of the physical battles in the second half. How do you assess our physical stamina and endurance and performance so far?
Yeah, so whenever I watched the under-17 games, I think after 60 minutes, they're just gone.
Okay, about 2/3 of the way.
Yeah, just 2/3 of the way. And I think one of the problems that, one of the causes is that the lack of games, I think. Because, you know, in the youth development, it is still a tournament format. So ideally, you would have these players to play 20 to 30 games in a season, competitive ones. But, you know, because of the tournament format, after you get eliminated, then what?
Right.
You know?
Is it because also the lack of experience on how to pace themselves throughout the entire 90 minutes?
Yeah, maybe that's one of the reasons as well. And you know, we have to also remember that these guys are not together for long.
Yes.
They haven't had like the physical session or the training camp. So yeah, I think that played a big part in the lack of intensity, the lack of stamina that is shown in these games. And yeah.
I don't know if you're
basically
able to
that's
answer this, but is there a difference in regards to the methods of training that Coach Bima Sakti has employed as opposed to Shin Tae-yong with the elder squad?
Well, I'm not really sure, but I think that maybe there's some differences because there is a difference in the coaching staffs as well, right?
Right.
So yeah, there should be some differences.
Okay, all right. So what are we expecting then from your take? I need your take on what are you expecting from our final group match? And again, if we zoom out and take a look at the big picture, what are our chances of advancing into the knockout round?
Well, I'm certainly hoping for minimum a draw because I think getting 3 points, that is
a bit of a stretch, maybe? A bit too optimistic?
It's too optimistic against Morocco as well. So yeah, getting a point is a good result, and that boosts our chance of qualifying.
Will it be good enough though if we get a draw? I mean, 3 points. Where does that put us? Where would that put us in the group? It would put us in third, correct?
Yeah, it's third.
Okay.
So, but you know, the rules are that the four third place teams,
4 out of the 6.
4 out of 6, yeah.
Third place.
They get to qualify to the next round, right?
Okay.
So I think 3 points might be enough, and I think maybe I am confident like 70%-ish that might be enough because in the last edition, 2 points was enough.
Okay.
So, yeah.
Oh, I see. All right. So again, this obviously all depends on some of the results from the other groups as well, and some of the statistics that they accrue over the next their last matches. So, what's your prediction for the score if it is going to be a draw? Are we going to score? Are we going to score again at least?
I'm going to say 1-1 again.
1. Okay.
And Arkan Kakak will score again.
Oh, there you go. There you heard it here first. He's rarely wrong, so I'm going to go with you on this one. Hopefully we do get out of this group stage because it's been a great tournament so far, but also very unpredictable results.
Yeah.
Not just, I mean, Indonesia, obviously a little better than we expected, but some of these other big giants are being slayed by some of the smaller teams.
Yeah, Iran as well.
Okay, exactly.
Won against Brazil, right? So,
right.
yeah, there's a lot of surprise.
Good tournament to be keeping up with. We hope that you do follow along. We'll obviously give you all the continued highlights and results from the ongoing tournament as it continues. But in the meantime, thank you, Mas Raihan, for dropping by. And hopefully, if Indonesia does make it out of the knockout round, we will definitely have you back to break it down even further.
Thank you.
All right, we're going to take another short break here, you guys. But when we return, we've got more sports news. So stay with us. We'll be right back after this.